on the remaining ferry, but we need to secure it and get it up and running.
Here's one.
Get those explosives ready.
Explosives detected.
So yeah, let's get right into the build. This is my rifle build that I've been using for solo heroics, and it is a heavily red focused build. I'm using the classic M1A. Now a classic M1A is going to roll with rifle damage and crit hit damage. I have mine with damage to target out of.
Agent requesting backup.
Now the mods on my M1A, I'm using the digital scope. Now I don't always use the digital scope. I do feel that sometimes you can use a C79 scope depending on your crit hit chance and stuff like that. But also just for the quick scoping and just shooting a target, right? You don't, yeah, the headshot's going to give you more damage, but you're going to kill most things with this build in 2 shots, in 1 shot, 3-4 shots, right? So as far as speed goes, I sometimes use the C79 scope as well. Just kind of look at where your crit hit chance is at. This also reminds me that you are using the sharpshooter specialization for this. You're putting points into the marksman, the rifle tree, and you're putting points into the headshot bonuses as well, and stabilization as well. Now for my attachment, my other attachment, I'm using the laser pointer. Now I use it for crit hit chance. If you're already at the crit hit cap, the 60% or close to it, then you could use a crit hit damage mod there. Or, I mean, I guess reload speed stability if you want, but I would choose either between the crit hit chance or the crit hit damage. For my magazine, I'm using the tightly packed magazine just for the extra rounds. And those are the mods for the M1A. And I rolled for the rifleman talent. Now, I have tried a couple different talents here. I've tried Lucky Shot, I've tried Boomerang, I've tried other ones. The only problem with rifleman I currently have is that although it has a good potential and for like longer sustained fights, I think I love it. A lot of the times in these solo heroic runs, the mobs die too fast. So you can look into Ranger, you can look into other ones, depending on your build. So for my mask, I have the Penumbra mask, the GS, the Grupo Sombra mask, rolled pretty godlike. Weapon damage, crit hit chance, and a crit damage mod. Now for my backpack, I have the Providence backpack, which is the same stats, weapon damage, crit hit damage, crit chance, and another crit hit damage mod. Now these are the stats that you want for if you're just trying to do damage, you're going to want these ones, those 3 main ones, and your mods are going to be you're going to want them to be the crit damage mods. Now on my backpack, I have Vigilance, which increases my total weapon damage by 25%. And then finally, if I take damage, the buff is disabled for 4 seconds. I do want to talk about Perfect Vigilance, which you can get when Providence is in the Dark Zone. So if you see Providence in the Dark Zone, far for that backpack, far from that Perfect Vigilance. It's called The Gift. It is a named backpack that only drops in the Dark Zone. And the difference between regular Vigilance and Perfect Vigilance is that the disabled buff lasts only for 3 seconds, or that debuff, and then you get it back. So you save a second. So let's get right into the named chest piece, which is the Providence. It's called the Sacrifice. It rolled with crit damage, crit chance, and I put a crit damage mod in there. My weapon damage is decent. My crit damage there the attribute's kind of low. It is low actually. However, it's definitely worth it. The Providence set overall is a very good set to have if you're doing DPS. And the Perfect Glass Cannon, where I do 30% amplified damage at the risk of taking, right? I'm taking 60% more amplified damage as well. Definitely okay with that. As you saw in the video, you can just destroy everything, and therefore you don't have to worry about taking damage. Now my gloves are the MBC gloves. They're the Seska gloves. Now I use the one piece for that to get the crit hit chance. Now you can mess around with some things here if you're already at the crit cap. I wasn't, so I'm currently using the one piece gloves here to get to that close to that 60% crit hit cap. Now I have a decent and okay weapon damage roll. Again, you want the crit hit damage and you want the crit hit chance on there as well. I was able to roll a decent crit hit chance on there. My holster is the final piece of Providence, which gives me that 15% crit hit damage. This is a pretty good roll here, and it rolled with the weapon damage, the critical hit chance. And then my knee pads are the Fox Prayer knee pads. Now the Fox Prayer knee pads are a knee pad that they're knee pads that are going to roll with damage to target out of cover. I was able to put a critical hit damage roll on there to replace the previous one. So again, these are what you want. These are so good, and especially since using a rifle, right? You're getting that Overlord bonus, the 10% rifle damage. For my skills, I use a revive hive. I use a fixer drone. Sometimes when doing solo heroic content, especially if I'm doing like a Black Tusk heroic, I run with the jammer pulse. Now for my secondary, I use the Bullet King. There are times when you want to use the Bullet King, and that is when you do not want to reload. So I just rock it. It's cool to have anyways. Now my stats are as followed. So I have 511,000 weapon damage, 57 crit hit chance, 163.8 crit hit damage, 130 headshot damage. Now the crit hit chance and the crit hit damage are going to go up as I get more shade levels, of course, and so will the headshot. Just a reminder that 130 headshot is also including the 45 from the Digiscope. So yeah, that is the rifle build. I'm going to leave a little bit more gameplay here before we transition over to the LMG build that I have, because we're doing 2 videos in one. I'm trying to keep it brief, guys. So we're gonna have a little bit of gameplay for the LMG here right after we get through this. So yeah. So now we're gonna go over and we're gonna talk about my LMG build. Now, the LMG build that I've been using is very similar to the rifle build in a sense that because Providence 3-piece is so good that everyone's using it. If you're trying to use damage, if you're going for crit damage, you're using the Providence. It's so good, the 3-piece. So let's start with a little bit of gameplay, and then we're gonna move over and talk about the build just like we did before. Alright, so let's get right into the actual build. I'm using the gunner specialization, and that's for the armor on kill, the rate of fire, and the extra large pouch. And I'm using the MG5 replica, so I crafted it. Now you can keep crafting them and try to get the max rolls. I think it's rare to get that, but it's the best that I've gone so far, right? I have LMG damage to target out cover, and damage to armor. Now I'm using the C79 scope for crit hit chance, laser pointing for crit hit chance, and muzzle brake for crit hit chance. I'm using the plus 50 round mag pouch from the gunner specialization. The talent that I have is fast hands, and that's critical hits at a stack of reload bonus 4%, and it has a max stack of 40, so it helps me reload really quickly like you saw in the video. Now for my mask, I'm using the Coyotes mask. I just got it recently, and it has weapon. It rolled okay. Weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and then a crit damage offensive mod slot. So the pack instinct is actually the really good thing about this, because it's not only a self buff, but you're also supporting your team and giving them a buff. So anything that you hit between 0 to 15 meters gives you and your team 25 crit hit damage. Anything you hit between 15 to 25 meters gives you 10% critical hit damage and 10% critical hit chance. Anything beyond 25 meters is 25 critical hit chance. You can actually stack both of these and have both buffs going at the same time if one other player in your party has it. But you could take your grenade out and see kind of where the range would be. And 25 meters is pretty far out. It's pretty far out, and usually most of your fights probably take closer than that. So you want to keep it within 25 meters to actually get the benefits. And that's also why you'll notice my crit hit chance later is not maxed out. Now for my backpack, I'm using the same backpack for my rifle build that you just saw earlier. It is a Providence backpack, same rolls, same exact piece with the vigilance. And yeah, it's a really good piece. And you saw how if you're killing the NPCs, then they're not shooting you. So it works really well. I really like vigilance. You could also go with unstoppable force as well. Now for my chest piece, it's the same chest piece, the sacrifice named Providence, with the same exact rolls, the glass cannon. On my gloves, I'm using the LMG gloves. So I have the 10% LMG, the weapon damage to armor, and I roll the crit hit damage there. You want to try to get as much crit hit damage as you can in this, and so you would like all your mods to be the crit hit damage, all your rolls to be max. So Providence holster, the same as the other one, same exact rolls, and I even have the same Overlord Fox Prayer named knee pads, damage to our target out of cover, crit hit damage, and weapon damage. Even though I have the 10% rifle damage, I'm not using it. I do use it sometimes, but really I use the Bullet King. Now the Bullet King I use on engagements where I'm going to have to reload. Like if I'm not going to be able to kill the NPC, the target, in one pouch without a reload, I'll switch to the Bullet King, because that way it's more efficient and theoretically it's going to do more damage and it's going to save you time with the reload, right? So that's when I use it, and I do have it for those situations. So that is the build that I have that I'm using. I also use a Reviver Hive and a Fixer Drone, occasionally switch over to the Jamming Pulse if there's a lot of Warhounds, or if I'm doing an invaded heroic or just Black Tusk heroic where there's Black Tusk. Now my stat page, I'm looking at 50, almost 51 crit hit chance. This will continue to go up as you get more shade level points into it. However, right now that's where I'm at. I'm at 130, almost 140 crit hit damage there. 95 headshot damage, 16 armor damage. Now, as you get more shade levels, you might need to change your build a little bit so you're not going to be over the cap with the Coyote mask. Okay, so 50% crit hit chance is good. 45 to 50% crit hit chance is where you want to be. That way, you're not like not getting the benefit of Coyote and the buffs that provides. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're able to get the RNG going with you here and get some of these pieces that you need and also optimize them as well. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the discussion there. If you have any questions or comments, post them in there and I do read them over. Also guys, remember I'm streaming almost nightly on Twitch TV/LikeAHero, so you can catch me there and you can see all these things as they're unfolding, and you can see me running these instances. I also do not exclusively run solo. I do the raid and do other parts of the game as well. But thank you guys so much. And I just kind of want to mention that recently we just hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube. This meant we were able to monetize the channel, and we're just starting up, and appreciate all you guys that have subbed to the channel, that like the videos and that post comments and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys later.
Dolores is moving through the haunted house up ahead. I'll keep an eye on the outside. Be careful, Agent.